step one is to understand who your ideal client is. And everybody's probably heard that phrase, but I don't think people do it particularly well. But it isn't as difficult to do as people realize. So a simple kind of free, available, do it today version is to take all your clients that you have and have had, put them into an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet probably. And you want to identify the company. You want to identify the person that brought you into that business. It might be a solopreneur business, it might be a larger business, but who's the person? Is it Johnny, the operations director, or is it the Sarah, the head of HR, or whatever? And list that out as simply as you can. And then you want to find out for looking at all these, what revenue have I had from all these different clients? And it'll probably vary somewhat. And then the final thing you want to figure out for sure, there's other things, but you definitely want to figure this out, is how would you rate those clients out of 5, 1 to 5? Now, 1 would be, you couldn't pay me enough to work with that client. I'm never working with them again. 5 is, they were wonderful to work with. I'm so grateful that I got to, or still am. And I would work with them for free if I didn't have to pay the bills. So that's the crazy spectrum. Now, how you rate them between that's kind of up to you. You might say how easy it was to work with them. You might say how much impact you had in the business. You might say how much money they made you. I didn't really have that much interaction with them. Whatever your scale is, it doesn't matter. But 1 to 5 is the scale. Because it does matter that you enjoy your work. Otherwise, you will resent your own business. So understand the list of clients. Now, from there, you want to do a little bit of analysis, and that sounds really complicated, but all I really mean is, well, what are the patterns here? And you might have to add some additional columns to that Excel or Google Sheet of location, length, how the business is, how long it's been around, how many staff they have, the industry they're in. And you kind of do that so long as you're looking for commonalities. Like an example of this, we work with a consultancy that works in the events industry. We first started working with us. They said, we work with events companies, and we found that all their marketing efforts were going to everything from DJs to stadium building companies, all this kind of wildly different clients, nothing to do with each other really, except for they shared this industry of events. And so we did this analysis and we figured out, actually, no, you don't work in the events industry. You work with project management within events, AV companies, and a select few other types of companies. Everyone's at least 10 years old in business. No one's more than 35. Staff are at least 8, no more than 15. And it was all based in London and the surrounding area. All these commonalities. And we said, right, that is your ideal client. And that is as clear as we can see it. That demographic has brought you 90% of your total revenue. From there, the task is to then build a list. But you have the hard part done. Now you can go to ZoomInfo, you can go to Apollo, I think you can go to Clay. There's a bunch of them that are just databases of names. And I would go there. Apollo's my favorite, but it's preference. And type in all the exact demographic information that you've now learned about your ideal clients, and that will spit out a list of 2,000, 3,000, somewhere in there. If it's more than 10,000 names, you've probably been too broad. If it's less than 500, you're probably being a bit specific. So I like 2,000 to 3,000 as a name. Now, that gives you a lead list. And I would say, as we would say to our clients, that's your forever list. So the goal is not to do what traditional marketers would say and just burn through those contacts, or what salespeople in the 90s would do with just like call one by one by one. The task there is to recognize what all the data points to the fact that these are our clients. These are the most likely companies in the world to be our clients going forward, these 2,000 people. So let's treat it with caution, treat it with respect. And before we try and convert them, let's just get to know them. And if we're going to translate this to a platform like LinkedIn, that is as simple as sending a connection request to everyone on that list. Now, it's not something you do in an afternoon. You do it over months and months, years. But it is an effort to get to know those people. The basic version is a connection request, of course. But if you have the time, have the capacity, have the interest in really developing a great relationship, my encouragement is to look at their profile, to look at their website, to look at the article that was written about them last June, build a bit of a mini profile for really 5-10 minutes on the person, and send a direct message or email, whatever. It doesn't really matter. They're sitting at the same place, looking at their LinkedIn in their inbox. But something that is driven not by your sales pitch, which is the big error, big mistake, but it instead is driven by curiosity, a level of respect, and a motivation to just start the relationship.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you found value from this clip. It was taken from the conversation that I had with Craig Hurd. If you want to see the full-length episode, is available here, right here. So have a look, and yeah, we'll see you there.